England Patriots quarterback Tom Brady must serve a 4-game suspension.
Power outage was an unfortunate incident that we're looking in to try to get the facts.
Every postseason, when it comes to the Chiefs, questionable calls.
You can never leave it into the refs' hands.
How many coincidences we gotta see before we start thinking it's a conspiracy?
The NFL is the biggest sports league in the United States, doing over $20 billion in revenue in 2023, more than double the MLB's revenue, which was the second highest earning league. And with a league that big, naturally comes some controversies, and some in the biggest game of the year.
Welcome to the Super Bowl on CBS.
In 2013, the Baltimore Ravens faced off against the San Francisco 49ers in Super Bowl XLVII, and the Ravens came out dominating. Joe Flacco threw 3 touchdowns in the first half, including a 56-yard pass to Jacoby Jones where he shook 2 defenders to get into the end zone. The Ravens were up 21-6 at halftime, but Jacoby Jones returned the second half kickoff for his second touchdown of the game.
He is flying! 109 yards and a touchdown!
Putting the Ravens up 28-6 early in the third quarter. The next possession for the 49ers wasn't much better, as they were facing 3rd and 13 in their own territory, and then the lights went out.
Half the power in New Orleans Stadium, the Superdome here, is out.
For 34 minutes, the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, home to over 71,000 fans that night, was plunged into chaos. Half the field lights were out, and power also went out in the broadcast booth, and elevators and escalators around the stadium came to a halt. Officials scrambled to figure out what was happening as players tried their best to stay loose. And the internet naturally had one question. Was this an accident, or did someone cut the power on purpose? There are a number of theories out there about what caused the power outage during this infamous blackout game, including one that all the power during Beyonce's halftime show could have played a part. But the most common conspiracy out there is that the NFL, or someone with power, made the decision to deliberately cut off the lights to pause the game and shift the momentum for the 49ers. At the time of the outage, the Ravens were crushing the 49ers, but when the lights came back on 34 minutes after they went out, the 49ers came roaring back, outgaining the Ravens in the second half 312 yards to 103 yards, and scoring 17 unanswered points, nearly completing a historic comeback. Even Ravens star Ray Lewis has alluded that he thinks turning the lights off may have been an executive decision by someone because the game was such a blowout.
In $1 billion stadium, lights ain't going out, Peyton, unless something is at risk. Come on, we're almost 3-4 touchdowns up.
You're going conspiracy.
I'm going conspiracy.
And Jacoby Jones said, "You knew they were about to punt the ball to me, right? I just ran it back 108 yards for a touchdown. Then somebody was at Buffalo Wild Wings and hit the button." Now, the Super Bowl is of course a massive business. This game between the Ravens and the 49ers generated an estimated $292 million in ad revenue for CBS, and nearly $100 million was wagered in bets. A one-sided blowout isn't exactly good for ratings or engagement. And if the power was cut on purpose, the 49ers definitely took advantage of the break, and their comeback did make the game more exciting. And part of the reason they were able to mount a comeback is because somehow they were actually experienced in this situation. In Week 15 of the 2011 season, the 49ers stadium completely lost power, delaying the game by 20 minutes. So even though this had never happened in the Super Bowl, the 49ers did have some experience to lean on.
Hey fam, we might have a 20-minute delay.
What?
Yeah, get your mind right, we're playing.
And the Ravens were not ready.
Lights out. They will come back on, and we got to be ready to go.
Right, yeah.
And when it came back on, we weren't ready to go. Fumble, turnover, short field. Oh man, here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go. And now we got a game.
Now in the end, the Ravens were able to beat the 49ers and get the win, giving Ray Lewis a Super Bowl win in his final career game. But even though the power outage did work in favor of the 49ers, there are more rational explanations for the blackout than a major conspiracy. The Superdome had an aging infrastructure, and power grids can fail. Some experts suggest that the sheer amount of energy being used that night between the halftime show, the stadium lights, and massive TV production could have contributed to an overload, and the NFL would be taking a huge risk manipulating a game like this. If the truth ever actually did get out, the league's credibility would be destroyed. Another thing to consider is that during the power outage, the 49ers headsets stopped working, but the Ravens headsets kept working, and the NFL actually ordered the Ravens to shut off their headsets before they resumed the game.
Their headsets are out, and they're trying to make ours be out too.
Because one side phones go off in the regular season, you don't shut the other side off. Our phones are intact, we should be able to keep our phones.
Eventually, Thankfully, the 49ers headsets did start working again, but if someone was trying to shift the momentum for the 49ers, wouldn't they want the Ravens headsets to go out and not the 49ers? According to the official statement that was released, an abnormality in the stadium's power system triggered the power to shut down, which is a little vague. Entergy, the company responsible for supplying electricity to the Superdome, said that the source of the outage was an electrical relay device that incorrectly triggered and resulted in the blackout. After the blackout, the company stated that they discontinued the device that supposedly caused the blackout, but obviously not everyone was convinced by this explanation.
In $1 billion stadium, lights ain't going out.
On my conspiracy meter, I'm giving the Blackout Bowl a 2. After my research, I just personally don't think there's any truth to this conspiracy. There really isn't any concrete proof that the lights were cut intentionally, but even though not everyone was convinced by the reason given for the blackout, what is convincing is that the best way to earn cash with sports is NinjaBet.
NinjaBet is a platform that helps you earn extra cash through matched betting. By strategically placing bets on all possible outcomes of a sporting event, no matter what happens, you profit. Here's a little example of how it works. Random Sportsbook A is offering a $100 bonus bet when you sign up. And let's say you place this $100 bonus bet on the Vikings to beat the Packers in Week 17 last season at minus 111 odds. Then you take your own money and put $100 on the Packers to beat the Vikings on another sportsbook, which we'll call Random Sportsbook B. If the Vikings win, you have $190 in Sportsbook A to withdraw, and if the Packers win, you have $193 in Sportsbook B. Subtract the $100 of your own money that you put on the Packers in Sportsbook B, and you have a profit of $90 to $93 no matter the outcome of the game. And NinjaBet makes all of this super easy and simple. Oh, sorry, I messed up the camera a little bit there. Their platform provides tons of helpful tools to make this process super simple. They give you step-by-step guides, odds comparison tools, and calculators to assist you in placing the best bets. There's no searching around through different sports books for the best odds. NinjaBet does all that for you, and they also show you all active promotions across sports books, which are updated daily, and they also give you tutorials explaining how to take advantage of them. And NinjaBet also offers live chat and email support to help you navigate the process. Match betting is great for people who are looking to earn an additional income online. This isn't a full-time job that will make you rich, but if you're a student or someone looking for a side hustle, this can be a great option. Many users earn anywhere from $100 up to $1,000 a month, depending on the time and effort invested. NinjaBet is currently available in 24 different states, as well as all of these different countries. And right now, NinjaBet is offering a free trial that gives you access to tutorials and tools to help you complete your first offer, earning up to $100 without any upfront charge for their platform. And after testing out the service and earning some extra cash, if you like it, you can continue and get the full premium version of NinjaBet to keep earning. Check out the link in the description to start your free trial with NinjaBet today.
I gave the Blackout Bowl a 2 on the conspiracy meter, but where will the next conspiracy land on the meter? Because it may have a little more evidence to back it up. With 9 minutes and 21 seconds remaining in the second quarter of the 2015 AFC Championship game, Indianapolis Colts linebacker D'Qwell Jackson intercepted a pass from Tom Brady. Jackson then gave the ball to a Colts equipment staffer on the sideline who noticed the ball felt underinflated. Colts head coach Chuck Pagano and league officials were notified, and at halftime, the NFL decided to conduct a quick measurement of the Patriots footballs. And officials found that the pounds per square inch, or PSI levels, of some of the footballs were below the minimum requirement. One theory is that the cold weather of New England caused some of the footballs to lose pressure, but the popular conspiracy is that the Patriots and Brady knowingly deflated the footballs to give them an advantage by making them a little easier to grip in the cold weather. NFL footballs are required to be inflated to between 12.5 and 13.5 PSI, and Walt Anderson, the head referee for the 2015 AFC title game, personally inspected each ball prior to the game, and everything checked out. However, NFL Network's Ian Rappaport later reported 11 of the 12 footballs used in the first half by the Patriots were determined by officials to be under the minimum PSI at halftime. And since Tom Brady was one of the NFL's biggest stars, this quickly became a huge scandal.
The NFL appears to be at war with the Super Bowl champion New England Patriots.
You know, Brooke, I think it tarnishes his image a lot.
Tonight, Tom Brady answering the question, did he cheat?
I don't believe so. I mean, I feel like I've always
played within the rules. I would never do anything to break the rules.
The NFL hired attorney Ted Wells to investigate what became known as Deflategate, and the investigation included many Patriot staffers giving up their phones to investigators so their text messages and emails could be searched. But Brady did not give up his phone to investigators, which will be very important later, so remember that. And even though the investigation was not able to access Brady's text messages, they did find some interesting text messages from some other people. Two Patriot staff members had exchanged text messages about deflating, with one of them even referring to himself as the Deflator in a 2014 text before Deflategate even happened. And this is pretty interesting because the Colts had already been suspicious that the Patriots were tampering with footballs before the infamous Deflategate game. Now, this Patriot staffer has said that this text was just a joke, but Wells' team actually uncovered security footage of a Patriot staffer taking a number of footballs from the officials' locker room into a bathroom before the game for about 90 seconds before coming back out and bringing the balls onto the field. And 90 seconds is probably enough time to deflate a few footballs.
Just like that, 3-4 seconds.
Right. But like I mentioned before, since this game was in the cold weather in New England, it's possible that the balls lost PSI when they were moved from a warm locker room to a cold field. Now, each of the Patriots footballs were measured twice at halftime, and here you can see the measurement of each of the 11 balls that were under the required PSI zone right here. But the interesting thing is 4 of the Colts footballs were also measured, with 3 of the 8 measurements coming in below the required PSI zone. So both teams had at least some deflated footballs. So could the cold weather have been a factor? Well, there have been a number of different tests to show how cold temperatures reduce PSI in footballs, but the most convincing case for Deflategate being the result of cold weather and not from intentional deflation is from MIT professor John Leonard. In his lecture, he first notes that he's an Eagles fan, so he has no loyalty to the Patriots. And then he makes a few key points. First, before the game, the Patriots footballs were originally inflated to 12.5 PSI at the bottom of the approved range, while the Colts were inflated a little more to 13 PSI. Second, the Patriots footballs were measured at the start of halftime, and the Colts footballs were measured at the end. The warm locker room would cause the footballs to gain PSI, and by being measured after the Patriots balls, the Colts footballs would have more time to reinflate. His third point is that when a football is wet, its volume actually increases, which lowers its PSI. And at the end of the first half, the Patriots had a long drive, so their footballs were getting a lot of use in the cold, wet New England weather, while the Colts balls were in a bag on the sideline, much drier in comparison. So according to this MIT professor, the difference in time and wetness of the Colts and Patriots footballs scientifically explains the difference in PSI and essentially debunks Deflategate. But the NFL did not agree, because the official statement said it was more probable than not that the balls were intentionally deflated and that Brady was at least somewhat aware it was happening. So they punished the Patriots by giving them a $1 million fine and taking away 2 draft picks, including a first rounder. Brady also received a 4-game suspension to start the 2016 season. Now, Brady actually appealed this suspension in federal court, but remember that cell phone he didn't want to turn over to investigators earlier?
The league reveals Brady had his cell phone destroyed right as investigators wanted to see it.
That's right. According to the NFL, Tom Brady had his cell phone with over 10,000 messages on it destroyed.
According to the NFL, he not only didn't freely give evidence, but went so far out of his way to destroy evidence, was the major thing that they cited today in upholding his suspension.
But Brady denied the claims that he did not cooperate with the investigation. In a statement, he said he turned over phone records and emails and contacted the phone company to see if there was any way to retrieve the actual text messages from his old phone. He also said he regularly destroys his old phone when he gets a new one, but according to the investigation, his phone was destroyed on or close to the same day Brady met with Wells to be questioned. So the NFL was not buying Brady's explanation, and neither did a judge. So Brady ended up serving his 4-game suspension, missing the first 4 games of the 2015 season. There were many people, though, that thought Brady's punishment was too severe.
Tom Brady's getting 25% of the regular season without any conclusive evidence. To me, I don't think the punishment fits the crime.
But the punishment actually didn't end up hurting the Patriots too much, because they still went on to win the Super Bowl that season, defeating the Falcons in the biggest comeback in Super Bowl history. Some people believe that the NFL exaggerated some of the evidence here to protect the league's integrity, and some believe that the Patriots were simply caught cheating.
If balls were deflated, I will go to my grave saying that Tom Brady knew that the balls were then being deflated.
But after one of the biggest alleged cheating scandals in NFL history, Brady won 4 more 4 Super Bowls, cementing his status as the greatest NFL player of all time. But will Deflategate be a stain on his legacy, or was he even involved at all? On my conspiracy meter, I'm putting Deflategate at a 6.5. I do think the weather could have played a part, but Brady destroying his phone, if true, is suspicious. Let me know where you guys would rank this one on the conspiracy meter. Now, Deflategate is one of the biggest NFL conspiracies of the last 20 years, but there is another star quarterback at the center of a conspiracy right now. The Kansas City Chiefs have been the dominant force in the NFL over the past 6 to 7 seasons. Led by Patrick Mahomes, they've won 3 Super Bowls, made deep playoff runs every season, and have seemed unstoppable most of the time.
Devontae Smith! Touchdown!
But some fans believe their success isn't just about talent. It's about favoritism from the NFL itself. Every era in the NFL seems to have a golden team, a team that gets the most TV coverage, seems to get favorable calls, and always makes deep playoff runs. The Cowboys had the 90s, the Patriots had the 2000s and the 2010s, and now the Chiefs. But one of the biggest complaints from NFL fans over the past few seasons is the officiating in Chiefs games. Whether it's controversial penalties, missed calls, or game-changing moments, it sometimes seems like the refs lean in Kansas City's favor. For example, take the 2023 AFC Championship game against the Bengals. A bizarre sequence gave the Chiefs an extra third down after officials claimed the previous play didn't count due to an unnoticed clock issue.
The ball was set, the play was shut down, the clock and should not have started.
This left Bengals head coach Zach Taylor livid as the Chiefs got to basically retry third down, and even though the Bengals sacked Mahomes on this retry play, the refs called holding on Eli Apple, giving the Chiefs a first down, which again left Zach Taylor very upset. What's interesting about this retried third down is that head ref Ron Tolbert didn't appear to blow his whistle or make any attempt to stop the play when it was happening. But one ref did come in and wave his arms a little in what looks like an attempt to stop the play, but then seems to just kind of give up and watch the play. So is this really a clock issue or a move to help the Chiefs? Then there was a game against the Jets in 2023 where a questionable defensive holding call on Sauce Gardner wiped out a game-changing interception. And what makes this play so controversial is the timing of the flag. The penalty occurs right here, but no flag is thrown. The play continues and then the ball is intercepted and then the ref throws the flag.
He didn't throw it until he saw that it was going to be a turnover and it was going to affect the outcome.
But some of the most controversial calls for the Chiefs came in the playoffs just earlier this year. In the divisional round against the Texans linebacker Will Anderson was flagged for a roughing the passer call on 3rd and 8 midway through the third quarter. He clearly made contact with Mahomes, but many questioned if it was worthy of a penalty flag.
This is a huge penalty.
I didn't see anything there that supported a foul.
We knew it was going to be us against the refs going into this game.
And a little later in the game, the Texans were called for a highly questionable unnecessary roughness penalty.
Unnecessary roughness. Defense number 39.
Oh, come on. I could not disagree with that one more.
It was not the right call. And everybody knows it wasn't the right call.
But it doesn't stop there. The very next game in the AFC Championship, Xavier Worthy went up for a 50-50 ball with Bills safety Cole Bishop. At first, it looks like Bishop has possession, before Worthy is able to get a hand on the ball as it comes to the ground and actually hits the ground a little. After a challenge from the Bills, this was controversially ruled a catch by Worthy, leading to a Chiefs touchdown later that drive. But it doesn't stop there. In the fourth quarter, Josh Allen ran the ball on 4th and 1, and on replay, it appeared he had gained enough for a first down, but the refs did not think so.
Holding in the field stands is called. It'll be first down Kansas City.
The Bills turned the ball over on downs, and the Chiefs went on to win the game in controversial fashion. But if the NFL is really trying to help the Chiefs, there has to be a reason. So what would be the benefit of rigging games for them? One factor would be increased viewership and TV ratings. The Chiefs-Texans divisional round playoff game this past season was the most watched NFL game on ESPN of all time. And the Chiefs-Bills AFC Championship game this season was the most watched AFC Championship of all time. So even though a lot of people don't like the Chiefs, they still tune in to watch them, and more people watching means more revenue for the NFL. Or maybe the NFL likes the storylines Mahomes brings, fighting Brady for GOAT status, rivalries with star quarterbacks, all storylines that bring views and money to the league. The NFL thrives on superstars, and Mahomes is their biggest one. Patrick Mahomes is one of the most marketable athletes in the world. He's everywhere. State Farm commercials, major endorsements, and constant media coverage. Just like how the NFL built around Tom Brady and Peyton Manning in previous decades, it's clear they want Mahomes to be the face of the league. Now, does this mean they're actively rigging games for him? Not necessarily. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell has of course strongly denied the claim, calling it a ridiculous theory, and without any hard proof, maybe it's not the favorable calls that have given the Chiefs so much success. Maybe they are just that good. Mahomes and Andy Reid are one of the greatest QB and head coach duos of all time. Travis Kelce is one of the greatest tight ends of all time, and the team performs in big moments. Pair that with some generational defensive players and you have a dynasty. Sometimes it's just the nature of the game. Bad calls do happen, and maybe the reason they become such a big controversy is because they benefit the best team in huge games. If this replay down that happened in the AFC Championship had happened between the Raiders and the Jaguars in a Week 3 game, would it have been as big of a deal? So is the NFL rigged to help the Chiefs? There have been some bad calls that have favored them, but there's really no hard evidence to say that any games are rigged for them, especially after the last Super Bowl. So on the conspiracy meter, I'm also putting this at a 2. There have been some bad calls for sure, but I just don't think the NFL would risk fixing games. But let me know what you guys think about these conspiracies. Do you believe any of them, or what conspiracies about the NFL do you believe? You can go follow me over on my Instagram at Philip_IA to stay up to date on all the things happening over here on this channel. Thank you guys very much for watching. If you like this video, let me know. If you hated it, let me know even more, and I'll catch y'all next time.